So I was here in '99 and 2000, and then I left. Okay, now so I've been back for 6 years now, the 6-year anniversary party. Okay, so for those that have been here a long time, big setup 751-1041. Have we ever dealt with a real circumstance of being short of water? I know we live in a desert. Okay. I know that the logical thing to do would be to conserve because it's a desert. I get that. I think we do a pretty good job. One could argue, and I'll get to this in a moment, that we do too good of a job. I'm just wondering, honestly, have we ever been in a water danger zone? To quote Kenny Loggins, here in southern Arizona that you can remember. Okay. Because I remember being told to conserve when I was here for those 2 years back in '99, and being told ever since then, since I got back here, to always conserve. But I don't ever recall there ever being a circumstance where we didn't have any water. Okay, right? All right. So I want people that have been here a long time. I would like to know. Now I'm leading up to something. Okay. Which plays into a conversation we had yesterday and confirms many of the phone calls that we had yesterday. But let's go to the phone. Steve's been here since the 70s. What's going on, Steve?
Good morning, John. I moved here in 1970, grew up here, been here ever since.
Okay. And have in your recollection, have we ever been in a water emergency in southern Arizona?
To my knowledge, no. And that's from everything I've experienced and seen. We have seen water contaminated through TCE spills and problems out by the Raytheon, formerly Hughes plant, and some other isolated incidents. But I don't believe there has ever been an issue where the community at large has been without water. Of course, there have been broken water mains and shortages in those little things. But as far as us not having plentiful supply and groundwater stock for years, I don't recall that being an issue.
All right. Okay. Well, there's one. He's been here since the 70s. Thank you for the phone call, Steve. Let's see what Dale has to say. Dale, how long have you been here?
I moved here in '99 as well, but I've been here continuously.
Okay. So about 14 some odd years. All right.
Right. And, I deal with the water company through my business on a time-to-time basis, and there's no shortage. Even the water company, in the few interviews that they grant, say that there's no shortage. It's just and it's irresponsive municipal entity that doesn't give you any real information. They just bill you to death for the usage.
Right.
But there's never been a shortage. As a matter of fact, where we sit and the lens of fresh water that Tucson sits on with the mountains to the east of us, we wouldn't have to pump in any water. I mean, it's really remarkable how the deception is complete. Because if you talk to people that have been here, throughout, have ranched and done all the things that you do in Arizona over 100 years or so, there's never been a water shortage. It's just ridiculous to talk about it and say that there's a shortage and we need to conserve. It says no, we need to make you think it's scarce and we're going to bill you to pieces for it. If you call the water department, I've lived in a number of cities across the U.S.
Okay.
These hidden fees that go in with water departments are really pretty remarkable. The waste treatment facility fees and things like that, where you have a kind of an unknown that they can say, well, besides the usage, this is how we're going to charge to, say, treat the water. It's fascinating. For example, a lot of clients that I have in the city will either have swimming pools and or irrigation systems. Swimming pools, will evaporate up to 150 gallons a day in the summertime on their own. Right. And irrigation systems, you want these people to have these $1 million homes, you want that tax base, but then you abuse the living daylights out of them with $500 to $1,000 water bills. And it's not based on shortage. It's based on the ability to bill people and not be responsible. A few years ago, the water department said there wasn't a shortage, but because of a budget shortfall, they had to raise the rates twice in 1 year. That's the water company.
Right.
I didn't say that.
Well, this is what I'm driving at, and I'm gonna because let me set the stage here, and I'll get to the other phone calls first. But remember yesterday, okay? The city council, got all shocked. It's just right because they did the budget, right? And they had raises, and then they found out that there was $2.5 million that wasn't accounted for because of environmental services and water wasn't taken into effect. Now, the argument was, well, it's not coming out of the general fund. They have to figure out how to fund that on their own. We had several people calling in saying, well, they're going to do that by raising rates, and this always seems to happen. Conserve, conserve, conserve. Remember the mayor? We won an award because we pledged that we were going to go and save all this water. We said we would. Millions. We pledged to save millions of gallons of water, and we got an award. Right? Fantastic. Doesn't mean you have to do any of it. Okay? There's an article that was put out yesterday, kind of confirms what we were all thinking. Before I get to this, though, I need to get a few more phone calls here because I appreciate Dale's knowledgeable insight and Steve's history of being here in the old Pueblo, but, those are just 2 phone calls. Surely that could be just anecdotal. Perhaps other individuals who have been here for a longer period of time can tell us about the danger of water shortage, right? Let's go to Judy. Judy is, you've been here since 1950.
Yeah, my family moved here when I was just a tiny little girl. And I'm going to tell you, every year they tell us we have to conserve water.
That's right.
And sometimes, but I have never seen a real water shortage, like we had to take turns flushing the toilet or anything. Never a real crisis.
You've been here since 1950.
Yeah.
And you've never heard of any crisis or anything that alarmed the community saying we must go and cut back and
every year they tell us.
All right.
We do it, and then they charge us more for the water, and I think that's the whole point.
Thank you for the phone call, Judy. Well, again, this. I don't. She's in 1950. I mean, how far back do we have to go? Let's talk to Carl. Carl's been here. Now, how long you been here, Carl?
1966.
66. All right.
Yep.
And surely you can tell me of a time when we've been short of water and in desperate need to have to not take showers and only do, sponge baths.
Only the contrived ones, and only when they hit a water main somewhere. When I got here, there was probably a little over 100,000 population, and now we're well over 1 million. So. All right. No water shortage.
No water shortage. All right.
And of course, they made it with the CAP that we'll never have a water shortage. Thank you to, I think, Mo Udall.
I think that it's time, and thanks for the call, Carl. I think it's time that we as a community start telling the Tucson City Council and Tucson Water to go and soak it or soak their own heads. Article from yesterday. Tucson Water says it's balancing a number of issues, creating fair rates, encouraging conservation, and keeping the same revenue coming in. And as a result of these issues, water bills are going to go up.
Epic fail.
There are 3 options on the table. For the regular user, the increase could be anywhere from $2.91 to $3.69 a month. The final decision comes later this month, but only after public feedback. Part of the process is explaining the rate hike and talking with the public. That is what is happening tonight at the open house. There were 2 more open houses that are scheduled for next week. Tucson Water says the public doesn't need to be there to comment. You can go to their website to go and comment as well. I think you should comment. I think you should say, you know what, don't worry, I'm going to start using more water. Contribute to the local economy. All of the grocery stores, supermarkets, they've got those little kiddie tub pools out. Or buying those up. Enjoy some summer fun. But every single year we get stuck with this. Conserve, conserve, conserve. And what's happened since Judy arrived back in 1950? The community's grown, and there's been more people here. All right? Now, it's been stagnant for a little while now. But the reality is, you're being told many lies, but you continue to be told lies on this front. When it comes to sort of the status quo of the way this city operates, and you keep paying the price for it. Conserve, conserve, conserve. We're winning awards for pledging to conserve, and yet what do? They go and they nail you for it. It's all part of this liberal narrative that they put forward, and ultimately it comes down to control. They want to be able to control that money coming in. They want to be able to raise rates when they want to. They want to be able to keep telling you to conserve so that they have that option if they need to have that option and they have to find money somewhere. But the reality is we've got plenty of water here in southern Arizona. Oh, should we even bring up the whole rainwater harvesting and the amount of money that goes into that as well? And
I like turtles.
751-1041 is the phone number. More of the John Justice Show coming up on 1041 The Truth, Right Talk for Tucson.